call a roll, please.
See where we're at.
Or tell him.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Ms. DeAndre?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Roosnellis?
Here.
Mr. Shatina?
Here.
Mr. Walden?
Here.
Mr. Kellogg?
Here.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, this is the duly advertised meeting for the month of March, year 2015. We've got 3 items under consideration today in 2 projects. Both of these projects are located in the same Laraway Crossings development, which is at the northeast corner of Route 53 and Laraway Road. First one under consideration is P1-15. It's a preliminary plat of the Laraway Crossing Business Park, Unit 21, the re-subdivision of number 1, and that again is at the northwest corner of Laraway Road and Cashel Drive. Applicant is BRE, the Laraway Property Owner LLC. The requested action is the approval of a preliminary plat of the re-subdivision of Unit 21, and they would allow for the continued development of the industrial lots. The location is the northwest corner of Laraway and Cashel. There's 2 lots in consideration. One of them is 26.8 acres. The other one is 36.5. The area down there is zoned I-1 light industrial zoning. The surrounding land use and zoning is to the north undeveloped I-1. To the south is undeveloped with residential unincorporated Will County, and then essential service, which is the Joliet Water Tower that is on the Chicagoland Speedway property, and then naturally the Speedway itself, which is also zoned I-1. To the east is undeveloped land I-1. To the west is undeveloped and industrial within I-1. Under site history, concurrent with the preliminary plat request, Plan Commission is reviewing a proposed preliminary plat of the IKEA Distribution Center in the Laraway Crossing Business Park and the vacation of a 40-foot stormwater management easement located at the IKEA Distribution Center. Again, that's next door. Those are the cases to follow. This location is at 401 East Laraway Road. The site was annexed in Zone B3, General Business, and I-1 Light Industrial, and was given preliminary plat approval back in 2000. Unit 1 was approved in 2001. The revised preliminary and final was 2003. Then we had the same action in 04 and then also in 07. And an amendment to the annexation agreement was approved along with the revised preliminary plat, a preliminary plat and a final PUD for Laraway Crossings Business Park IKEA, and then the final plat of Unit 13, the vacation of a utility easement and a dedication of Emerald Drive and Cashel Road were also approved in 07. In addition to the approval in the subsequent units of the subdivision, a revised preliminary plat and final plat of Laraway Crossing Business Park Unit 21 is approved in July of 13. The petition is requesting the approval of a preliminary plat which will allow a reallocation of 6 acres currently located on Lot 21. Lot 22 will increase by 6 acres with the addition of the rectangular portion of land on the south side of Emerald. Lots 21 and 22 are renumbered, lots 1 and 2 respectively on the plat of re-subdivision. The purpose of the re-subdivision is to allow for the addition of a 99-space trailer parking lot to accommodate a new tenant in the distribution warehouse on Lot 22. Emerald Drive is built and fully improved with utilities and streetlights. Existing stormwater areas are designated to accommodate the drainage for the entire business park. The preliminary plat conforms to the subdivision regulations as reviewed by Planning and Public Works. And then lastly, the Community Design Review Board minutes are available if anyone would care to look at those. And that concludes our staff report.
So may we have the petitioner on this, please?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Michael Hansen, attorney on behalf of the applicant. We agree with the staff report, and I'll ask for any questions from the commission.
Is there any questions from the commission?
No, I would move to approve.
Okay. Any questions from the audience? Okay.
I know we do have neighbors here. I don't know if you want to make a call again.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to comment or questions?
Probably would like to.
If you,
Right.
yeah, Liz, if you could come up and identify yourself and who you represent, and that way we'll have a record of it.
Good afternoon. My name is Liz Sodick. I live at 617 Sugar Creek Drive, Joliet. I think we're the Will County Township
You are.
residences to the closest to the subdivision. We don't really have specific objections. It's just been a long time since we've seen this. It was when Ryan Group started in, 2000. I suppose we would probably like to talk to the IKEA people at one point, asking for, no traffic down Rowell is one of the first things that we want, no truck traffic whatsoever, which I don't think that is weight-bearing anyway, but sensitivity in terms of sound protection, light protection, et cetera. I don't know if that's at all possible.
IKEA is coming up next.
Right.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry,
We
the
are
easement, this is the
Right.
first part.
This is the first one.
Right.
yes.
I don't think we have, Puck, we have anything to say about the easement in terms of stormwater?
We have a current
Traffic on Rowell.
Yeah.
Who said there's not? It's written in here.
He more, the issue, Ryan and Water has
Where did I
been
read it?
sensitive.
The only issue I have with, I'm Jay Gregory. I live in
Jay,
Sugar
if you,
Creek,
yeah, give us your address so we,
490 Sugar Creek.
thank you.
There's been a pilot approved that's adjacent to this. And the main stormwater for all these buildings in the front runs parallel to Laraway Road and goes under 53 at the corner. And you're gonna build a pilot there in the main ditch. If there's any obstructions in the main ditch that goes in front of the new pilot,
The street pilot's going across the street on the south side of Laraway.
isn't the pilot going across?
No, it's on the south side, isn't it?
Southeast corner.
Yeah,
Underneath the word Laraway is what
right. It's not going to be on that side of the road.
But the problem it has with all the, this thing's bisected, half the stormwater goes to the racetrack, not the racetrack, the Autobahn, through Glasscock's property, and underneath 53 at the corner, that needs to be improved. The size of the pipe going underneath, it's a box culvert, actually. It doesn't function very well, and it doesn't function all the way down the Glasscocks and underneath Laraway Road again. It makes another left-hand turn. And the problem with having more runoff is the existing runoff doesn't function very well. If you go out there after a rain, it can be full. I've seen the intersection of 53 and Laraway Road underwater. So that's the only objection I have. The more hard surface you got out there, the more water you'll have going to the south and west, which people don't think it goes that way, but it does go that way from that point. I've had that conversation with Jacob and Hefner before. So that's the only objection I have to that. And can I ask another question? After all this build-out we're having, does that trigger the improvements to Laraway and Rowell Avenue? Can I ask?
Scott's here from Public Works. Laraway Road will be done as a city project this year. I think the expectation is to bid Laraway Road currently and open bids in April, award the job in sometime in April for,
Part of the, once they hit a trigger point on that?
well, they gave us the money, Ryan Companies gave us the money to do Laraway Road.
And Rowell
and-
should be done at the same time, right? Correct?
Well, they're not going to do Rowell at this,
Well, Rowell's a mess.
yeah.
I mean, you guys are dumping all these trucks down 53 and Laraway Road, and there's no road left. And now Joliet's fire department, they can't go down Chicago Street because of all the trucks. They actually use Rowell Avenue, which is a disaster. They go right down the middle of Rowell Avenue as fast as they can go. And there's no shoulder stone or anything on Rowell Avenue. I mean, that needs to be improved before any of this gets going. I mean, we tolerated this since 2000. I mean, it's been a long time. I'm sorry the project's taken so long, but it's been miserable and nothing's been improved. They put one little thin overlay on Rowell Avenue. Yeah, you could have done better with a paintbrush, I think. But Rowell, Laraway, there's no sidewalks to Laraway School. There's nothing there. I mean, it's about time you improve the whole thing. That's all I got to say about it.
All right, thank you. Any other comments?
I'd like to, Jim, would you respond to those comments? That it doesn't make sense to me. He's indicating that the water goes west and south. So why should it bother that area, the north?
Yeah, Scott, I don't know, maybe you're the drainage expert down there. You want to get up to the microphone so we got you on tape?
Scott Gapswich, engineering supervisor. Yeah, the detention basins are already established for this entire business park. They've been established since the beginning. There are some divides. Some of the water does go west on Laraway, in the west of 53. The majority of it goes to I think there's 5 ponds up at the northeast corner of the development. Those ponds are the ones that discharge through Sugar Creek.
But that Sugar Creek runs north
North.
toward south.
North. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, to say more development is gonna increase the runoff, that's not necessarily a true statement. The ponds are already sized for the ultimate build-out of the subdivision. They're restricted, so if anything, the ponds might be slightly underutilized at this point, and they haven't met their full capacity until everything is built out. But the release rates out of those ponds are already set and established for the full development of the site, so we don't anticipate.
Where will the storm sewer go when you put the storm sewer in?
The storm sewer, when Laraway Road is constructed this year, the storm sewer does go west, under 53. It does go over near the Glasscox
Yeah.
property.
Okay, on the north.
Runs that way, sure.
And where does that run to?
That goes back behind like the Dollar Tree,
Okay, so
development.
outfall there?
Continues southwest that way.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
eventually runs towards like Center Point.
okay. Thank you. Jim, I want to ask you also, what is our responsibility and at what time frame for Rowell Avenue and Laraway with respect to the overlay on Rowell or the completion of Rowell? What is our responsibility there?
Well, what we've ended up doing, and this was something that was negotiated with the developers, but if anything happens to the XL development farther to the east on the other side of Rowell Avenue, that will trigger the construction of that portion of Rowell that's in the city limits. Obviously, we can't talk about the stuff that's north of that that's not in the city limits. And in talking to the XL folks, they've got a couple of prospects looking at their property, so there's a probability that in the next year or two that section of road might get built. But again, we wanted to coordinate it with the two developments. But I should also tell you that there's going to be no access by either development, either XL or the Ryan companies, out onto Rowell, so they're not going to be the ones using it. And I know a statement was made that the city let the trucks go down there, and that's not exactly a correct statement either. I mean, we've got no truck routes posted. You try to do enforcement as best as you can. You try to keep the trucks on the routes that they're designated to go on. I know that the Public Works guys have done some work on that section of Rowell, but it will get done, probably in the immediate future, not this year, but, the next couple of years, there'll probably be enough development down there where you'll see that get constructed.
What would ultimately trigger our involvement with respect to Rowell?
I mean, it really will be the construction of another warehouse to the east.
And they would be paying for that, they would?
Correct.
Okay.
There won't be a city job. You've got part of the money for,
With the settlement from Ryan, that was for Rowell and Laraway. We're building Laraway this year, and the reason we're just not doing Rowell is we're just waiting, when somebody comes in on XL to do the east half, we would have some money to put toward the west half of the road. At one point in time, instead of building half the road two separate times, we'll build the whole road at once.
That was always the original intent?
yes,
Rowell is not totally the city's. That's very clear, right?
yes.
Potential bit of Rowell to the north.
That's my
What's she
question.
saying?
Said Rowell's not totally in the city.
Oh, yeah.
Between Manhattan and Laraway. Is any of it in the city?
Well,
Not that I know.
I don't know,
Is-
I don't know if you've all heard that, but the question was, Rowell shouldn't be used because it's not a city road. My comment would be, it is a public road. It's
Yeah.
open to the public. So anybody in the public can use it. Again, not any large weight-bearing vehicles aren't allowed on there. And I have talked to the Joliet Township Highway Commissioner, and he was talking about setting, standards for his portion of the road. He's got every right to do whatever it is he has to do. Again, we're not going to encourage any traffic to go use Rowell Avenue, certainly not as part of either one of these developments, either XL or this one, will there be any kind of an invitation to go use Rowell Road. As a matter of fact, we're talking about the opposite. We're telling them, don't use it.
Jim, is any of Rowell Avenue between Manhattan and Laraway in the city?
Just that portion that's adjoining these two developments, the XL development and the Ryan companies.
Okay.
So, well, you can kind of see on, Jim's trying to throttle back to the zoning map, but you could kind of see the colored areas. And then there's the Laraway School District bought about 28 acres down there. That's to the north of the detention ponds. There's also a ComEd high tension right-of-way that comes through there. So everything that's north of that, that's all unincorporated Will County. It's the Joliet Township Highway Commissioner that's in charge of it.
Did we annex that 26 acres where Ryan bought?
I don't think we
Who
did.
bought the 26 acres? School bought
School
that.
district, Laraway School bought it.
Okay, but we never annexed, not ours.
I don't believe we did, no. It's in the city then? All right.
It is in, the 26 is in.
Are you? What's that? Yeah, the only other thing too is that a lot of the development that's going to take place in Laraway Crossings is going to go out Emerald to 53. That's the preferred route, and we're working now on plans to make improvements and possibly signalize Route 53 and Emerald Drive. So that'll be the main road in and out of this development. There is that Cashel Drive that does take a certain amount of traffic down to Laraway Road, but our preference and what we've talked to most of these developers about is that the primary point of ingress egress is going to be off of 53 at Emerald.
What is the main concern of the people who are complaining about it? Is it mainly water, stormwater runoff?
Well, again, too, I'm more of a layman. Scott could answer that better, but usually with the detention, the runoff is sometimes better because it captures the water during the big events and releases at a slower rate. So a lot of times we've found out that maybe flooding is lessened with development than it is when it's allowed to sheet flow off of a farm field, for instance. Sometimes you get more rain runoff and more damage than if you've collected it into a pond. There's the converse argument that says, well, then the water's running for longer periods of time, but at a slower rate, and there's advantages and disadvantages to that. So, our policy has always been fully detained, 100-year event in the pond, and that's what we've operated on for the past, I don't know how, 35 years that I've been here.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Greer, you had another question?
Just got one question about Rowell Avenue. It was my understanding when this project first started, I don't know, 98, it was a long time ago, but there wasn't an Excel even in the works. There was an Excel when there was a trigger point in Ryan's development that improved both Laraway, widened Laraway, sidewalks, and Rowell Avenue. And my understanding was the last time they ceased construction, any more construction would have hit that trigger point. And that's what I understood from the meeting with Ms. Mesra. That was three people ago, I guess. But that was the deal then. There wasn't any other development out there other than the racetrack, the NASCAR track. And that wasn't even, I don't know if it started then or not.
tell the complaint to you.
Rowell Avenue was supposed to be improved way back then when the trigger took effect.
And just to his point, what's up under consideration right now is the reuse of a vacant building that's there now, that's been there for quite a number of years. That's what we're talking about on this particular case. On the other one, that will be up next on the IKEA development, I don't even know, I'm not even certain that the IKEA development would have triggered that, but we've modified that in 2013, we modified that, they gave us money. And again, we've elected to hold off on the Rowell Avenue improvements until Excel gets ready to go, because like Scott said, we'd rather do a whole road instead of two half roads at the same time.
I want you to understand the importance of Rowell Avenue. With all the truck traffic that's out there, that's one of the main access for the people in Sugar Creek and all the people that live there. So by ignoring it and making provisions to bring more trucks, we need that road. We need it finished and we need it straightened out. And I mean, it's not good. If you go there in the wintertime, nobody plows it. It's underwater.
Not even in.
It's not
Out
ours.
there, well, we got 5 days of dry weather, but just before that, there was puddles all over it. I mean, passable puddles. So it just needs to be straightened out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I can't hear you. Could you come up here? I cannot hear you.
Nobody in our neighborhood can drive down 53 anymore. It's dangerous. There's too much truck traffic. So again,
I drive it
the
every day.
importance of Rowell Avenue being protected for our neighborhood, which has been there for quite a long time, is prime importance to us. Drainage is also an issue.
What is your complaint? I still haven't got
It's
it.
not a complaint, sir. It is the fact that the amount of traffic down Rowell Avenue has increased exponentially. the last 5 years. Chicago Avenue and Route 53 is our other access point. We all now drive over to New Lenox because you can't go out 53 to get onto 80 half the time. It's practically impossible. The trucks are backed up for, have you been down?
But every day, that's why I'm questioning it.
Okay, well,
And I drive Rowell almost every day.
I must be a chicken. I cannot do that. I drive through New Lenox and pick up 80 and 355 over there because the trucks scare me so dramatically. I'm always getting cut off, and I find it, our neighbor, we just all seem to go east now because we feel that it's very hard to drive down Chicago Street. That's it. So we are protective of the road. That is all. We're asking for some sensitivity in that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, at the end of the day, Rowell Avenue is the county's problem, right?
Well, not the county, it's the township to the north. It'll be
Okay.
us to the south adjoining these two developments. And again, I don't know how many times I need to state this, but we are granting no access out onto Rowell Avenue from either side of XL Development or the Ryan Company's development. There is discussion about an emergency access for the fire department out through Rowell should the main route get blocked somehow. But that's the only use on emergency basis only. There's going to be no daily use of Rowell Avenue by any of this development anywhere.
All right, these people that are here today, telling us their concerns, does it benefit them at all to talk to the township?
Yeah, because the township plows their roads in their subdivision. Yeah.
They talk to the township all the time. All right,
Hi, Randall Early, 1613 Middle Tree Road, Sugar Creek, and to her point, 53 is abominable. It's an accident waiting to happen, even for people that aren't worried about it. I'm not worried about it, but well, I tell you what, you really got to be wary getting in and out of that road. It's not easy, and the truckers get a hold of this too. Just like when there was construction on 55 and that, and they're trying to reroute the trucks and that, and it's not happening. They don't listen. They're not going to necessarily listen to this. So, what he was saying, he stole a little bit of my thunder. Access has to be blocked, except for the fire department, to that complex, because the truckers are going to be down there anyway, unless you enforce it seven days a week, 365 days a year, all day long, every day. That's it. They're going to be there. You can count on it. Because they're not going to like it. They're going to have a hard time getting across 53 if they're going heading south, going to go east. And they're going to take that road. They just are. And that is vital. That's our main drag into the southeast entrance of Sugar Creek. It's got to be kept for the people there. I mean, this stuff is going to happen. So we gotta lay it out from the very beginning here before we get started on this, in earnest about tearing everything up. So, think of the people that live there.
And
Thank
of
you.
course, all that goes back to the original preliminary plat, not what we're working on here, so.
Correct, that's
I mean, all
correct.
that's gonna have to be dealt with as we go down to the east and develop that, right? Any build out there that control.
Then as soon as the XL folks come in for any other development on their site, that will trigger the Rowell Road improvements. But again, only from Laraway northbound to the edge of the city limits, which is, I don't know how many feet deep, several. That's to the north side of the detention ponds that were built out there. Yeah.
North of Eunice.
And I don't think that's even a full half mile, do you?
16.
More than a quarter mile, but under a half.
You see Santa Claus up there?
And we are sensitive to that. The way this was all set up is that we don't expect that any of this development is going to use Rowell Avenue.
Yeah. Well, and part of the problem is because it's taken so long to develop and Rowell's just gotten worse, so,
Yes.
yeah, okay. Are you gonna add anything, Mike, or can we
No,
take a vote?
just
Okay.
Ready for a motion?
All right, motion's in order for P-1-15, please.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Ms. DeAndre?
aye?
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. Roosnalis?
Aye.
Mr. Shatina?
Aye.
Mr. Walden?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Thank you.
I think.
Next case up, we've got two items. We've got the first one is a preliminary plat P215. the preliminary plat of the IKEA Distribution Center in the Laraway Crossings Business Park re-subdivision. That's at the northwest corner of Laraway and Rowell. The applicant is IKEA Property Incorporated, and they're asking for the approval of a preliminary plat of re-subdivision. The purpose is to allow for an industrial distribution center. The location is the northwest corner of Laraway and Rowell. Size of the property is 71.7 acres, and it is zoned I-1 light industrial. To the north is the stormwater detention ponds with an I-1. To the south is the Chicagoland Speedway with an I-1. To the east is undeveloped. That's the XL development with the I-1. To the west is the stormwater ponds and also undeveloped I-1. Site history. Concurrent with the preliminary plat request, the commission is reviewing that, the one that we just did, that was Unit 21 of the resub. Also, we will be considering the vacation of 40-foot stormwater management easement located on the IKEA Distribution Center in Laraway Crossings Business Park, and that's the next case up. The Zoning Board of Appeals is concurrently reviewing a variation on the allowable trailer parking located at 401 Laraway Road. Again, that was for the project next door, and that was approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals at 2 o'clock. The site was annexed in Zone B3, General Business, and I-1 Light Industrial, and was given plat approval in the year 2000. I won't read the same stuff because it's very similar. The dates of all the other PUDs and plat approvals was started in 01 and sort of finished up in 13. Special information, the petitioner is requesting the approval of a preliminary plat which will allow for the development of a 1.4 million square foot IKEA distribution center on the 71.7 acre site. The distribution center will serve 10 existing or proposed IKEA locations in the Midwest, as well as customer fulfillment. The store locations include Bolingbrook, Schaumburg, Illinois, Columbus, Ohio, Memphis, Tennessee, St. Louis, Missouri, and Merriam, Kansas. The warehouse will have an employee parking south of the building with an entrance on Laraway Road. Truck traffic will be on Emerald Drive. A traffic study of the intersection of 53 and Emerald is underway. A traffic signal will be required at that intersection, we believe, in the future. No truck traffic will use Rowell Avenue. However, an emergency access gate will be located on Rowell. Adequate stormwater detention is provided in the existing detention ponds in the subdivision. The previous 100-year floodplain has been removed per the letter of map revision issued in 2008. Emerald Drive is built and fully improved with utilities, streetlights as part of the development, and that is by the previously approved preliminary plats. The existing 50-foot wide landscape easement located along Rowell Avenue and Laraway Road are noted on the plat. The plat conforms to the subdivision regulations as reviewed by Planning and Public Works. And then lastly, Community Design Review Board minutes are available, and that concludes the staff report.
May we have the petitioner on this, please? And state your name and address, please.
Chairman Kell, I'm George Mahoney, and I'm here for the applicant IKEA. I'm with the firm of Mahoney, Silverman and Cross in Joliet. With us today from IKEA is Karen Talrico, Jim Letty, and Frank Howder, who are in charge of this project, so they're here to answer any questions you might have. But if I could kind of briefly introduce you to the IKEA project that came to the city in about 2008. And yes, Mr. Haller was very correct and very deliberate when we met with he and the city staff that the only entrance on Rowell Avenue was to be an emergency entrance for emergency vehicles and not for trucks. And that's generally at the northeast portion of this site, which has its easterly boundary on Rowell and its southerly boundary on Laraway Road. The visitors to the center, the car visitors who would be coming to this site once it's developed would use Laraway Road, and you'll see the entryway into the office area on the south part of this graphic showing where essentially the office would be. And then it also shows on Emerald Drive the access for trucks. So it's just as Mr. Haller had indicated. But another thing that the city of Joliet was very, very deliberate with us on is that they want to be sure that the address of this site is clearly Emerald Drive, so that when the vehicles coming to this site enter it, they know that it's an Emerald Drive address and their GPS is going to take them there and not to Rowell Avenue. So that's one of the things city staff was very deliberate with us about. The plan for this this site has kind of evolved. And the plan is that the initial construction, the first phase of this development, would occur principally on the southern, roughly the southern 2/3 of this property. And then the next phase would occur on the northern third, roughly. But the footprint that you're seeing, the area that you're seeing, the parking areas that you're seeing is what will ultimately be there, no more. And so ultimately, the building will be configured. So as you can see, the silos on the building, those are the two with the X's through, they're really going to be joined now because of efficiencies. And so when the first phase is constructed, there will be silos more towards the south, and it'll be one silo rather than two, approximately 900 feet. And this is about 800 feet as you see them configured now. It will be more 900 feet with the initial construction, roughly 1,100,000 square feet. And then the second phase will be the balance of approximately 450,000 feet, and that would be to the north. But when it's completed, it will be as portrayed in that preliminary plat. One other thing that IKEA was very direct to me to talk to you about is that we know that the neighbors have questions, and Mrs. Sodak had raised questions and indicated that she'd like to meet. We'd be happy to meet with her. And so if I could ask Mr. Haller and the good offices of the City of Joliet to arrange that meeting. We have some people who will come in from Pennsylvania on that, but we would be happy to do that.
Would be happy to host it.
Thank you. So I hope I've given you a brief overview. If you have questions, we'd love to entertain them.
Okay. When you mentioned silos, what are the?
Well,
Silo in
the building height is going to be roughly 40 feet, but there is an area that's going to be elevated above the building roof to about 110 feet, and it'll be about 900 feet long. And essentially, it facilitates the distribution of the products that are retained in the center. And it's just it's an economy of work and effort, and it really facilitates the distribution.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, if I could reiterate that, we refer to them as picking modules, and that's where all the merchandise comes together and gets palletized. And we were very deliberate when we did this from an architectural standpoint, that we're going to have banding, and the goal really was to make this portion of the building to look very much like an office tower from a distance away. And from day one, that was one of our requirements, and they're going to follow that. So there'll be different bands of shading that will make it look somewhat like an office tower above the top of the normal warehouse storage portion.
Any other
Yeah,
questions?
Mr. Mahoney mentioned the buildings are going to be combined now to be
Correct.
one building.
Exactly.
Okay. And let me ask you about the lakes or ponds to the north. Did that belong to Ryan?
That
At one
belongs
time?
to Ryan, correct.
Okay. Will we be going into those lakes at all from this particular parcel?
Yes, this development and every other building that will be built out there those ponds were sized accordingly, and all the stormwater from the full build-out, like Scott had said before, is channeled to those various ponds. There's
Yeah.
some ponds back to the east, there's some ponds right up on Route 53, there's a pond at the corner. So as you look at the site out there, and they're all in place, they're all functioning now, and they were all sized accordingly that this place would be pretty much 100% occupied.
So the engineering has been done with the 1.5 million square feet, give or take?
Yes.
In mind at the time?
Yes.
All right.
And Scott, that's correct. Yep.
And actually, the easements that we're looking at vacating are actual drainage swales that are on this property now that drain to those basins. That'll just be replaced with storm sewer as this site's developed, or as the building develops, so.
You know, draw it away from the property
Water
then.
from this site is already going.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
Mr. Mahoney, the construction traffic while you're building this, is that going to be coming down Elmwood and Laraway?
Well, I'm going to need some help on that, Commissioner Moore, so let me turn to Frank, can you give us a little idea of that?
Good evening. My name is Frank Howner. I'm a construction project manager for IKEA. During construction of this phase, Laraway Road would probably be the primary means of access. Certainly, we can direct as much heavy traffic as we can down Emerald, but it will be inevitable, given the way that this type of construction will go up, that we'll sort of need 2 points of access in and out as we go through those silos. A lot of laydown areas required to build those silos, so we sort of want to stay out of that way. That would probably block some access to Emerald while that's happening. But again, we can work off of Laraway. Certainly, we'd maintain proper site entrances, cleanup protocols, et cetera, to make sure.
Not Rowell Avenue.
I'm sorry?
Not Rowell.
Not Rowell, no.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Any questions from the audience?
I need you back up and give your name and
Come
address
up to
again.
the front
so-
again, please.
Andy Early, Sugar Creek, Middle Tree Road and Sugar Creek. I don't know what the duration of this construction is going to be. It's quite a complex. Is air quality, I know, there's going to be a lot of dirt moved around, a lot of dust and everything else. What are they going to do about air quality? A lot of this stuff's going to blow into our houses. And what can they do? Are they going to keep the roads watered? Are they going to keep the areas that they're going, the pathways in and out of that building? Are they going to keep that stuff watered down so dust won't be raised all over the place? Because that's going to happen. It's going to be clouds of it. And there's going to be a lot of trucks. There's going to be a lot of earth moved. We have to have some accommodations about air quality in our subdivision. It's going to get pretty bad.
Scott, don't they have to follow, do you have control over that, or is,
Well, yeah, I mean, the dust and things like that, yeah, you can have water trucks out there and things like that. I mean, it's difficult to control that completely. They do have to have soil erosion control in place and construction entrances in place. So there are requirements they have to file. National pollution permit to do all that work. So
I realize you can't control it completely, but you can do it to a pretty good degree. I mean, we have a lot of innovative things that we can do
A lot of what?
to keep this stuff down if they want to, and if they don't want to get away with something or get off on the cheap. You know what I mean?
Well,
So,
for many years, this site was pretty barren. It was stripped originally with the development, so there was a lot of clay piles and just bare dirt out there to begin with. So I don't know that it's going to get much worse than that. Obviously, trucks will stir some of that up. But that's not what's going to do that.
yeah?
I obviously want everybody involved to be aware that this is going to affect us, greatly. So please proceed accordingly, if you will. If you can enforce a little thing, if anybody goes out to inspect and sees a little bit of, really bad stuff coming around here, all the air bad and all the dust and everything, if you could have them tone it down a little bit or maybe have them throw some extra water on it, we'd appreciate it.
Of course, he would just contact Public Works on that, right?
By then, you'd be building inspection.
Building inspection,
And
so.
one of the things that I find somewhat interesting is that, I've been here for 35 years, and with all the construction that we've done over the years, I don't know that we've ever gotten any serious discussion about dust. The number one complaint I usually get off a construction site is mud on the roads. And so I've been out on many mud on the road complaints, but I've never, from the wet periods, I haven't been out on any for dust because of the dry periods. I remember back in the day, we would get some of the new residents on the far west side would complain about the farmers cultivating their fields nearby, and that was always a common complaint. And with that, then we would tell those new homeowners out there that, what did you expect? That's you're out in the middle of in the country, and the farmer's got the right to do what he does. And but dust was never a major concern, but we will keep track of it. And if
you
it
can't
becomes an
predict
issue,
that. You
building
can't predict
inspection is
that.
the one that does it.
Yeah, you can predict it till you see what happens.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
And I'd like that checked out, with some frequency. I know you can't sit on it, but
Public Works will have an inspector that obviously is on rotation through all the developments in the city, but when our inspector does go out there, he's required to inspect all their soil erosion control methods and measures that are in place and notify them of any deficiencies and go out and report them.
That's enough for me. We're gonna build this.
Please do, our lungs would very much appreciate it.
All right,
I'm
thank you.
sure if anything's really bad, EPA will be out there.
Sure.
So is there any questions or comments anymore?
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Do you anticipate, when do you anticipate construction? If everything goes to plan?
Frank, can you, Great.
That's the million-dollar question, as it turns out. I believe at this point in time, we're probably looking at spring of 2016. Depending if things really go very smoothly for us, we might be able to take advantage of some activity late summer. But honestly, I do believe it's going to be spring 2016.
Okay, and I would encourage any, use as much local union contractors as you can, so.
Yes, sir. Noted.
you.
We intend to do so.
All right, thank you.
Make another comment?
Yes, Mr. Gray, come on up.
It's Jay Gregory again. Is the property's going to be sold to IKEA? Is that it?
IKEA already owns it. They bought it in
They
07.
already own it. So Ryan has nothing else to do with it other than their retention or detention ponds?
That's correct.
All right. How many $1 million job is this going to be?
We don't know that.
You got a guesstimate?
I don't. I don't know if the company wants to talk about.
It's a lot of money, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, getting the road fixed seems like you could do it with the company's going to spend a lot of money here. He hasn't been a good neighbor. When they first built the place, they filled their ponds with silt. They promised us $10,000 to our community. I went ahead and did the work, took all the silt out of the ponds that they deposited from their construction. No silt fences, no EPA, no nothing. They just filled their ponds full. They flooded 2 houses in our neighborhood. One they bought back. The other one they went to court over, and there's a big fight. There's a huge pile of clay sitting out there for the last 7, 8 years. And when the IKEA first talked about building there, they stripped all the dirt and they piled it up. They put silt fences around it. They haven't been maintained for 8 years. The silt runs off, runs down into the existing ponds that are there. You know, all this money being spent, we can't get reimbursed for all the work and trouble that's helped us. I mean, Mr. Messer and Mr. Trisna sat down and pounded out a deal with Ryan. They were going to take care of us, and then they just ran out of funds and money. The economy went to hell, and they went back north. We welcome good construction, but if you look at the site now, if they own it now, they got clay all over the place running. I mean, there's rivulets of clay running right into the ponds now. I mean, nobody's maintained it. If it's theirs, they should do something about that. And somebody should pay for the clay they've put in our ponds. So we're in line. It's a unique situation. All this drainage ends up running through our 2 little ponds in our neighborhood and into our creek. I know it's just not our creek, it's everybody's creek, but it runs through our neighborhood. We have to maintain it. Now with retention ponds, they have funds for retention ponds in neighborhoods and stuff. This never was an issue in the past till Ryan started out there digging their ponds. And, you know, it took them a long, long time to get all the ponds in, and hopefully there won't be any more runoff. Hopefully the problem's solved, except we're up a creek without any money. We spent a lot of time and effort to clean up our ponds, and we wish, if they don't own them, they're still going to be having runoff go into them. So, and it eventually runs into our ponds. I mean, you can tell when there's clay coming, it changes color. It turns yellow, the water turns yellow. You can tell when anytime somebody starts construction out there, it becomes a real issue. I know it's not your problem. I know this is going through, but we need a road. We need our ponds taken care of. We need everything that was promised to us almost 20 years ago, you know? That's a long time to be sitting there on this schneid. I don't know how else to put it, but sounds like, looks to me when I drive by I don't know, what's the project to the east, Jim?
XL?
Don't they have a big for sale sign on it, like they don't want to be there? They got 750,000 square feet that's almost empty out there. They don't seem like they're doing anything. The other day, somebody dumped a bunch of morganite or sewage from the city of Joliet all over the place. You couldn't even stand the smell of it. The cops were called, everybody came out there. They said, well, it's okay as long as it isn't close to the wells. Well, everybody where we dumped it has a well, so that stuff keeps going on, and something needs to be done about it. There's no response from the city of Joliet. There hasn't been, and there's a good track record. Mr. Trisnes tried. He's tried to twist Ryan's arm. 2 city managers ago, both have tried, and nothing's been done. So I don't know if this is a right forum to address that, but we'd like something done.
Okay.
Thank you.
At least you're on the record now, so.
Let's get it over with.
Any other?
Chair, just
Yes,
so
I'm sorry, go
the
ahead.
council is aware, the commission is aware, IKEA has done no work on this site as yet.
Right, it's always previous, right, but any other comments or questions? Okay.
Maybe the development would really help out with some of the problems in Sugar Creek, because the changing, all the flooding problems would be run the other direction and be alleviating a lot of the problems that these people in Sugar Creek have.
Well, the two concerns being raised by Mr. Gregory are Rowell Avenue and silt and erosion from the site running through the detention basins to their subdivision. Well, the way you solve the runoff and the silt issue is you develop the site. You get permanent pavement in there and turf grass and things like that, so you eliminate the runoff from the clay that's been sitting there for a number of years when the site got stripped. And the way to solve the Rowell Avenue problem, again, is to have development come out there, which then triggers the roadway improvements to be done. So, I mean, I think anything going in there or in Excel is only going to help their situation in terms of those 2 issues.
And Sugar Creek not being in the city makes a difference also.
I mean, those detention ponds have to be maintained by the owners in the park, so if there's a problem with those down the road, obviously we can try to intervene, but it's much easier to have active development out there to go to, a developer who's maybe not involved in it at that point.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So motions in order for P-2-15.
So moved.
Second?
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. Roosonellis?
Aye.
Mr. Shatina?
Aye.
Mr. Walden?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. DeAndre?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
All right, next case up is the same location, V215, the vacation of a 40-foot wide stormwater management easement located at the IKEA Distribution Center in the Laraway Crossings Business Park. That's again at the northwest corner of Laraway and Rowell. Applicant is IKEA, they're the owners. The request is to vacate the stormwater management easement, and the purpose is to allow the construction of the warehouse distribution center. Currently has the I-1 light industrial zoning. It's the northwest corner of Laraway and Rowell. The easement size to be vacated, there are 2 parallel easements, 40-foot wide by 1170. Existing land use is undeveloped. Surrounding land use and zoning is stormwater detention ponds to the north, undeveloped I-1 to the south and to the west. Then unincorporated Will County is to the east. Site history concurrent with the vacation request, the Plan Commission just got done approving the preliminary plat case, and then we also had the case next door that was heard before that. This site was approved for annexation in July of 2000. The annexation agreement amendment in the PUD Laraway Crossings Business Park IKEA was approved in 2007. Special information, the petitioner plans to construct a major warehouse distribution facility at the site. The location of the warehouse necessitates the vacation of the 2 parallel stormwater management easements located on Lot 14. The stormwater management easements proposed for the vacation are each 40 by 1170. Joliet Public Works Department has reviewed the request and it has no objection to the easement vacation. Northern Illinois Gas, AT&T, and ComEd do not object to the vacation as well. Community Design Review Board minutes are attached, are available, and that concludes this staff report.
May we have the petitioner, please?
Chair Kelly, members of the commission, you've heard the report. We concur with it. We ask your support of it.
Thank you. Nothing to add?
Nothing to add.
Any questions from the commission? Any comments from the audience? Questions?
Hi, it's Jay Gregory again. Just to prove my point, all you have to do is look at the document they provided with these two blue lines. All that stuff that's white on there, that's all clay. That's all running into the ponds. That all comes from a huge mound where it says area in question. That's a big mound. All that is clay runoff that's running into the retention ponds. It ends in where it says valley there, that's our pond. And you can see exactly which way it's going. It's going to the northwest there, and it runs right in. And there's no better picture than what they've brought themselves to show you the problem with all the runoff, and the clay and the silt and the runoff. There should be a silt fence around that whole pile. It's there, but it's laying down. It's been laying down there for, like I said, the last 10 years. If they abandon those two areas now, that's the only thing catching the silt. That's not, if you eliminate that without making provisions or the timing of construction of a new building, which I understand there won't be any silt runoff once there's asphalt and roof everywhere. But in the meantime, it's the construction portion that's got us in the past and is probably going to get us again. You can look at it right here. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott, any comments on that part?
Just other than when this project does start up again and it's under construction, obviously all those silt fences and soil erosion control measures will have to be brought up to current standards and put in place, and there's deficiencies out there right now that have occurred over the years, those will be all
Taken care of then? Okay. Thank you.
We'll have your phone number to call you, right, sir? We've been very always very responsive, and we appreciate it. You have to,
Liz, again.
so hostile. Ryan was a very bad neighbor. And then they ran out of money. And they went a junk pile out there. And Mr. Shatina, if you drive down route, you know that.
I do it a lot, almost daily.
So you know how bad that looks. Ryan left a whole big mess. We had meetings with Ryan Group. Jim, I think you were at one. I think you set one up. Ryan pitched this whole, going to be a lovely, beautiful industrial park. Well, that's not exactly what happened. Now, we understand 2008 was no one's personal fault. But here's a second go-round. And we sound a little cynical and a little crabby. And again, we don't really mean to be. We are asking for the support of the city, who has a little bit more power than we do, to ensure that what we were told in 2000, I remember standing at the Ryan meeting, and you, Mr. Heller, do you remember you were there also? What kind of a story did they tell us? I don't think IKEA is, you're never going to accuse anybody of being a bad neighbor until you turn out to be a bad neighbor. We are sorry that your predecessors were not very good neighbors. Again, that is our only concern. We appreciate your offer of a meeting, and we appreciate the city's offer of sponsoring it. We'll look forward to hearing. And again, we are asking for sensitivity in terms of hours of operation, hours of construction, noise, light, et cetera.
Problem we had. when
Anything
Ryan
else
was
that would be
remember all that
impactful
coming,
to
yeah.
the people living there.
The drainage.
Lived there
The
for many
sooner
years.
it's developed, the
We
sooner
did
the
not get
problem
any of
is.
this from Ryan. We got water turned off to our pond, and we got silt. That's it. So, again, thank you for your patience. We do appreciate it, but we've been here before, in this same room, years ago. And the things we were told then did not happen. So, again,
Thank you. Now, we understand, some of us were here then,
You
so.
guys were here. I recognize many of you.
I have it tonight, I'll go.
Randy Early, Sugar Creek, as I, just listening, as I understand, some of these boundaries with Rowell involve Will County and City of Joliet. They don't know where it stops, where one entity stops, the other starts. History will tell you when two factions of government get involved in something, they argue for years and nothing ever gets done. So I hope we can come to a quick conclusion with Rowell, what's going to be done about it and who's going to be responsible for it, or joint responsibility, whatever. Another concern I have is there's going to be a lot of trucks. This is going to be a big moneymaker for IKEA. That's why they wanted the land. It's a great place they can distribute their goods for a central location. And there's going to be a lot of trucks there. And with that, of course, there's going to be a lot of diesel exhaust. And I wonder if, I know, like, I volunteer at the Shed Aquarium, and they don't let trucks idle when they pull in there. You must shut the diesels off. And there's no problem with that. They just don't let them idle. Are they going to allow trucks to idle around the clock? I mean, some of these guys just leave their trucks on, they just run forever. It's going to create a lot of exhaust. You know, if there's no breeze to blow it away, that stuff's going to collect, and we're right next to it. And I just wonder what, if any, provisions there'll be for this. Will it be designated a no idle zone while their trucks get loaded, or you know, because this is going to be a timely process. There's going to be a lot of vehicles. So I just wonder if and how this will be handled. Not only the noise, but the exhaust, you know, which is going to cloud up on a windless day or night. It is going to affect the health of the people there, obviously. We're going to be breathing that stuff.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Jim, with respect to the development of a property such as this or any development, does the city of Joliet obviate any of its rights or authority to conduct a regulatory agency across the board on any kind of property like this? Do we lose our rights to?
No, we don't lose our rights, but what we do is we yield to the higher authority. And in this case, the higher authority would be the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, and then even bigger than that would be the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, who sets standards for diesel trucks.
And neither of those agencies lose their rights as a result of the
They do
development?
not. And as a matter of fact, we yield to them and expect them, if there's a problem, that they would come in and solve the problem on our behalf, or their behalf, I guess, would be the case. And like I say, I know that they constantly increase the standards that the diesel trucking industry must follow. And so our expectation is that all of the vendors that call on the IKEA warehouse or any warehouse anywhere follow those standards, that you don't have anybody that are below the national and state standards, and that's our expectation.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, motion's in order for V-2-15.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Roosevelt. Mr. Shatina.
Aye.
Mr. Walden.
Aye.
Mr. Cox.
Aye.
Ms. DeAndre.
Aye.
Mr. Moore.
Aye.
Mr. Kella.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, next up under consideration would be the approval of the February 19th, 2015 Plan Commission minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We've got a motion and second. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, we'll move on. Lastly would be adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So move.
Second?
Yep.
All in favor by aye.
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 Coming up
Thank you
now.
very much, and we'll see you next month.
All right, good.